What's good, mi gente? It's Melany Moves, and you're watching Blacktinidad. On today's episode, we're gonna talk about something that's a little touchy, and sometimes it's a little hard to digest, but guess what? Your mother used to make you eat your food, and I'm gonna make you eat your food too. Today, we're gonna talk about colorism. Colorism in Latin America, and how it affects Black Latino representation in media. Let's start off by defining colorism, because surprisingly, some people don't know what that is. Colorism is not racism. Colorism is the prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. So one of the reasons why it's really important to know what colorism is, especially if you are racially ambiguous or mixed race, or actually if you're not, because you should just know what it is you don't want to get stuck in a situation where you're being culturally insensitive to the prejudice that exists within your race of people or your ethnicity of people. And what you don't want to do is what Danny did. Sorry, Danny, you did a big boo-boo. So a couple of weeks ago, Danny dropped a song. Honestly, I ain't care for the song much, but she wanted to big up all the light-skinned shorties, and she put out a song called Yellow Bone. Yellow Bone is what he wants. I don't think anybody cared. But what I will say is this. It is extremely problematic for a light-skinned woman to discuss the preference of light skin over dark skin because of the history of colorism in this country, and specifically of the history of colorism in Latin America. One of the biggest reasons why I also find that this is problematic is because yellow bone is an African American term and within the spectrum of colorism, and it's not within Latinidad, and Daniele is Dominican. So let's talk about the different ways that they discuss skin color in America versus in Latin America. So dark skin versus light skin, y'all already know the dark skin versus light skin jokes. We're not gonna go into that. All right, so some words that they have used, especially in the South, you got high yellow, yellow bone, red bone. These are words that discuss people who are lighter toned. And as you guys may or may not know, because most people don't know, there was an idea that as you approached lighter skin and more European features, you were more favored by the master. So lighter skinned slaves were house slaves, they did less work, and they were more favored. And when they became eventually free people, they were granted more opportunity because they were lighter skinned. And then the darker skinned slaves were in the field, hence house slave versus field slave. It's a very problematic narrative that kind of causes a lot of division within the spectrum of Black people in America. And it's something that you don't really want to go ahead and dig into the wound, Danny. All right, now let's talk about the many different words that we use to describe skin color in Latin America. And as much as people like to say that in Latin America, we don't see color, we do. We see color. We have so many words to describe color. We have mulata, trigueña, morena, negra, mestiza, habao, indio, blanco. All of those words are words that describe the very many different vast colors that you see in Latin America. And now that you know the many, many different words that we use in Latin America to discuss all the races and colors that we have there, that was a lot to digest. So swallow it. Let it sit a little bit. We're gonna take a commercial break, and we'll be back to discuss a little bit more about colorism in the media and why it's still very, very problematic in this day and age.